Betty.
Hi, buddy.
How's it
How's
going?
it's going so well. How are you?
I love when we do that, like we didn't talk for 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah. Oh my goodness gracious. Um, you're in Vancouver. Are you
I'm in
allowed to
Vancouver.
are you allowed to talk about why you're in
I can't,
Vancouver?
I don't know if I can talk about why I'm in Vancouver, but I'll keep it broad. I'm in Vancouver because I'm shooting a movie
Yeah, you are.
with a company that's
Woo.
fun.
A very
It's my
fun
first,
company.
it's my first one of this streaming service,
Yeah.
and I've hit Crave with Bring It On. I hit Prime. Now the next big
The
of
next
the
one
three. The
isn't
next
isn't
one.
yeah. Isn't Elevator Game on Shutter?
Prime.
Oh, it's Prime.
Like
Okay.
it is on Shutter, but Shutter is
But it was
in Canada through Prime.
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yay.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I actually was in Toronto. I had like fully moved to Toronto. Not actually fully moved, but like I didn't have a permanent
But
residence or anything.
sure.
I got an Airbnb. Pretty swanky one, I might add.
It
It
was
was
indeed
kind of beautiful.
swanky. It was
Um,
indeed swanky.
but it was a really nice spot. And then I got this news, and I'm honestly really grateful for it. Toronto's so fun, just as a city.
Toronto is fun. Toronto is very different from Vancouver, I find.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
Yeah.
polar opposites. It's like
Yeah.
the New York of Canada. Even you and I
Yeah.
and our friends Megan and Cassandra, we were out. We were like, yeah, let's go grab dinner. We grabbed dinner, and I realized towards the end that we were out at like 2:34
Yeah.
on a
On a
Wednesday
Wednesday,
grabbing
nothing is open.
drinks.
Yeah, nothing is open that
Nothing
late
is
in
open
Vancouver.
past 9 or on Mondays and Sundays here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I forgot that that was a thing. I came back and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go grab. Did you know they have a hot chocolate festival here? How
What?
cute is that? Yeah, the
Oh, I
Vancouver,
want to go to
they had it
that.
for like ever. And so, someone was telling me about it. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go check out this place called Thomas Hawes that has like really good stuff. And yeah, nothing's open on Sunday, Monday.
That,
Like it is,
okay.
but it isn't.
So maybe it's like a downtown thing. I don't know. But my favorite coffee shop downtown is Revolver, and they are closed on Sunday. And I don't know if
Cool.
if it's because it's a downtown thing, but I cannot tell you how many times I would be like, oh my gosh, it's like a rainy Sunday afternoon and I don't work. I'm just gonna like walk over to Revolver and get a delicious ice hot like what? Ice hot latte.
Yeah, I
Ice
saw
latte.
that.
Ice hot
I
latte.
like
And
it.
I walk up and I'm like,
Quirky.
it's Sunday, which everyone
No,
deserves a day off. But
I
yeah,
love how the days of the week have meant nothing to us for years because of this career.
brother, yes, I was just talking about that because
Because
I'm
you're
now back.
crazy.
Yeah, I'm back in LA now. I got back last week for a little bit, and yeah, it's and it's funny because I was just talking about this as well. Having structure in your day, like when you are doing something like this, where it's like every day is exactly the same, and then every day is also different. And so none of the days of the week actually matter
Mhm.
except for when your tape is due. Like
Yeah,
that's really it. And how do you maintain a sense of sanity when it kind of feels like everything blends together? Like how do you take care of your mental health when like if all you're doing is, your day job and then acting and everything else kind of just becomes one thing, how do you
yeah.
find purpose? Like what do you do? How do you fill your time so that you're not just waiting for the phone to ring?
I think it's hard too because a lot of the survival jobs for actors are shift work jobs,
Yes.
like serving. So
Hmm.
it further perpetuates the Yeah, that the days of the week mean nothing to you
Yes, exactly.
because they don't really.
The
I
weekend
think for
is
my
not the weekend if
no,
you're a
it's not.
server. Yeah.
I've had people, the weekend is your week. I've had people be like, "Oh, Maddie, come on, it's Saturday night." I'm like, that has meant nothing to me for 4 years,
Forever.
cleanly.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think for me, in order to feel purposeful and like I'm actually doing something with my life, I have to have scheduled classes or
Mm-hmm.
appointments or certain things so that I'm like, okay, it's Tuesday, Thursday,
Yes.
and I'm doing this. I actually signed up for vocal lessons
Did
a
you?
little while ago. I did, and I've been really liking it. I've always really wanted to sing. I like
Mhm.
singing a lot, and I get a lot of auditions where I have to sing. And oftentimes I send them off with this feeling in my stomach like it was just horrendous. But I would
No.
love for it to be great. Like I'd love
Yeah.
to just whip that out and be
Yeah.
like, hey, this is me.
Totally.
So
Oh,
I'm
I
really
love that
excited
for
to start
you.
that. But yeah, thank you. I think just fun classes. You were saying ballet.
Yes, so that was one of my New Year's resolutions was that I want to start taking dance again. And so I just got back last Wednesday. And so that is I actually had an audition last week where she was a ballerina. So I pulled out all of my dance, my ballet stuff. Like something purposeful that you're doing that's not acting and not work, that's just for you. Because otherwise, yeah, all you're doing is slinging bellinis until 2 a.m. and praying
Slinging
for
bellinis is
an
crazy, but I
audition when you're
love that.
eating an ice cold tofu bowl in the closet, you know?
Oh, no, I totally agree. I actually have been really trying to shift my mentality from I'm an actor and this is my whole all-consuming being to I'm just a creative in general. I don't know. I think that I have so much more fun and I enjoy this career so much more when it just gets to be, I don't want to say a hobby, because I do take it really seriously, but when it
Mhm.
gets to be just this fun little pocket of time that I get to have self-expression.
Yes.
And I think in order to do that, I need to be so many other things before I'm an actor.
Yes. So you are one of my very best friends, and you
You're
know
one of mine.
because my anxiety, I'm good now, and I feel crazy and like actually insane because I was so anxious for 2 weeks about something that is like it's not gonna happen, and even if it did, it wouldn't be what I thought it would be. But I was so anxious. Like I literally felt pain in my heart. I'd wake up with my heart pounding. I lost 5 pounds because I could not eat in a week.
I'm
And
sorry.
I'm 5'2", so
Yeah,
like,
you're a
you
very
know,
petite
um,
gal as it stands.
it was so bad. And then literally like a switch, I was fine. Like so fine. When I get auditions, I don't get anxious like that, although sometimes I do. But I'll get an audition and I just want to do well so badly that I get really anxious. And when I get that anxious, I don't take care of myself. I don't drink water, I don't eat. And it's not because I'm like consciously choosing not to do that. It's just I'm so in my own head that I don't even think about it. And my poor fiance literally is like, drink water, like, drink it. Um, so and then okay, so with that all being said, I'll spend the whole day working on my audition and getting it done and taping it, and then it'll be like 4 p.m. and I'm like, okay, I'm done. And then I haven't eaten, I haven't had any water, and I feel like shit because
Mhm.
I haven't taken care of myself at all. And so, how can I expect my audition to be the best that it could be when I've literally starved myself all day by accident, you know? And so, I really
Yeah,
think,
I think it's ADHD too.
well,
I'm listening to that and I'm like, medication.
also that, which is funny because this is so ironic, but like, side note, that anxiety that I was referring to, have you heard? have we talked about? I can't remember, but have you heard of PMDD?
I feel like I have.
It's basically, and I don't want to diminish it because I also don't know that I have it, and I don't know that I have ADHD either. I have started the assessment, but it is very comorbid in people who have ADHD, and PMDD stands for premenopausal dysphoria disorder. So it's
Okay.
basically PMS on steroids, and your like depression, anxiety, all of that, your cramps, your body aches, all of that is like times a million.
I have heard of this because I have a
Yeah,
dear friend who, actually a mutual friend who has that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was like the timing made sense. And I was like, is this what this was? Because I get extremely, extremely emotional before my period. Like, yeah, probably 9 to 10 days.
Hmm.
And like, I'll be sobbing about things that happened 15 years ago.
Hmm.
And I'm like, why? And I know because I feel insane. I'm like, why am I so upset about this? Like, why is this
You're not
affecting me?
insane at all. I actually was just talking to my therapist about this.
No
And
way.
the reason I was talking to my therapist about this is because I used to talk to a therapist in Winnipeg,
Mhm.
and she was amazing. But I would say to her, I feel like I get into a lot of arguments right around the time of my period, and I feel
Mhm.
like I didn't even actually clock it as that. I just said I was a really emotional person, and then she kind of
Mhm.
pinpointed that the timeline suggested that it was related to my period. And then I had found out
Interesting.
about the PCOS stuff, so that amplified it a
Mhm.
lot. And the therapist that I have now specializes in PCOS, endometriosis, and like the really intense
Okay.
hormonal and emotional toll that that takes on you. And I was talking to her because I was saying that I used to tell the close people in my life, "Oh, hey, by the way, I'm getting my period, so I might be a little bit more emotional in this period of time." And
Yeah.
I, for a while, had a running joke that I had a whiteboard and I would tally how many days I went without crying. And
Yeah.
now my therapist was like, "I hope you don't still celebrate that." I don't think that we should punish ourselves for
No.
expressing our emotions. And I remember talking to someone who was kind of in a similar boat as me in the sense that they cried often. Um,
Mhm.
but they lived a totally different life, and I really respected them because they were a student and in law school, and they were
Mhm.
doing all of these things that were considered pretty normal. And I
Sure.
would say that in this career, we're kind of deemed as super emotional, super
Mhm.
over the
Mhm.
top, super dramatic. So to
Yeah.
talk to someone whose life they had under control, so to
Sure.
say,
Yeah.
um, and they, they were like a pretty even keeled, had their shit together from the outside perspective, and for them to tell me, "Oh no, it feels so good. I cry almost every day."
Yeah.
Was so honestly, it made me feel seen. And I think as a
Yeah.
woman too, just like with your period, my therapist now is so big on like the hormonal toll
Yes.
that your period takes on you is so intense. Be gentle with yourself.
Mhm.
So I'm sorry,
Mhm.
did you get diagnosed
No,
with
that's okay.
PMDD or
No, no, but I was just thinking like it feels like kind of in the last year or so, that period of time, like a week and a half or so right before my period is like so intense emotionally and physically. Like I'm so achy, I'm so exhausted. And then just this past month was where it felt like everything kind of came to a head. And I know that I had like a legitimate thing to be concerned about, but the things that I was telling myself and how I was spiraling to worst case scenario and like how it made me feel like just how unbelievably anxious I was. I was like, "Oh my gosh, like this is not," and I don't want to say not normal, but just how like quickly the switch flipped after I was done my period. I was like, I feel like I should be anxious because of how anxious I was. And I'm almost anxious that I'm not anxious because I was so anxious and now I'm just fine.
Yeah.
I almost felt like after I felt okay, I was almost trying to talk myself into being anxious because I was like, it doesn't feel, it feels like I'm like ignoring something or or something because I was so concerned with this. And now I'm like, everything's fine. Why am I fine? My part of my journey this year that I'm trying to do, I actually just started taking my black seed oil today, but I'm trying to get my hormones in check. I'm really high at some points in the month and I'm really low at some points in the month.
Okay.
And another reason why I think this is also important is feeling that low. This is my like, okay, silver lining. Feeling that low puts things into perspective. Like at the end of the day, what matters the most is making sure that you are healthy and taking care of yourself. You have to take care of your brain, you have to take care of your body.
I agree. I actually put off getting my wisdom teeth removed.
I remember this. Yes.
I put off getting my wisdom, and they kept getting infected, and they got infected, and then gave me strep 3 times in the course of
Oh,
2 months.
oh
I
my
don't know how.
goodness.
Like I brushed my teeth twice a day, scrubbed the
Dude.
tongue. I don't know what was going on there,
Yeah.
but I needed all four of them out. It was so painful. And I
Um,
had just taped for something that was kind of promising. So
okay.
I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wait. They called me, they were like, we can get you in. They only did it on Fridays. And okay, for some reason they're like, we
Oh,
can do it on Friday. There was a cancellation. But I had taped for something and I was like, oh, but like if that works out, I'm gonna need to not be swollen chipmunk for a
yeah.
while. So I put it off. Then I didn't hear anything, and I got my wisdom teeth out. And I could have
Hmm.
avoided one case of strep at least. Like, you just have to take everything so seriously with your hormones and setting
Hmm.
yourself up for a healthy day to day life. That's what
Yeah.
I'm really trying to put into practice because there is no routine and there is no one holding your hand going, you need to do this at
Hmm.
every point of the day. I now am trying to become so much more regimented because I do feel like it does affect my hormones. I've been taking vitamin D, I've been taking B12, which apparently is really good for anxiety, like good for
Yes.
reducing anxiety. So if you
Yes.
don't take B12, take B12. I've been really on my vitamins, my supplements. I actually bought protein powder today from Welks. If you've
Good
have
for
you ever been to Welks?
you. No.
Go to Welks. If you live in
Okay.
Vancouver, it's
Oh my
amazing. It's like
gosh, I
this
love this.
amazing general store, but they have all this health and wellness stuff and
Oh,
like
no way.
beautiful luxury candles. Gotta go.
Ooh.
Um, I got this. What is it called? Good protein, strawberries and cream protein shake.
Yum. Oh my gosh,
Um,
strawberries and cream. Ah,
yeah, I
yum.
okay. I'm gonna be so candid and honest here. I feel like we've been really delving into the mental health chats lately,
Yeah.
and I've been
Yeah.
loving it.
Me
Honestly,
too. Me
I've been
too.
really here for it because yeah, we can
Yeah.
sit here and blab about acting all day, but
Yeah.
like ultimately,
Yeah.
this is also important. I also saw a post the other day, and it was like, what were the examples? It was something like marriage is hard, but divorce is hard. Choose your hard. Being fit is
Yes.
hard, but so is being obese.
Choose your
Choose your
hard.
hard.
Yeah.
I've been saying for years that I want to do this with my life. I want to do this with my life, and I don't do it. And I think I'm finally coming out of a depressive state where I was
Hmm.
I like cocooned myself for a bit. I think
Yeah.
so that I can enter what I'm trying to do now because I don't spend. I'm frugal. I'm frugal as hell.
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
spend money on anything. My health, my whatever. Not anymore. I went out the other day, bought myself a nice pair of running shoes. I'm gonna start running. And I'm
Yay.
like, you
Good for
know what?
you.
Thank you. I'm like, I don't care about the cost. I need this so I can do that. I'm gonna do it.
Yep.
Normally I do like a $34 Pilates class. I shouldn't do that. F that. I need to
Yep.
be happy. I need to be fit. I because
Yep.
that's gonna make me happy. And I told myself I want to be this for years and years and years. I'm gonna just do it.
Yeah.
I told
Good.
myself that this year I wanted to revamp my wardrobe and I felt guilty. I do. indulging and spending money. I've been doing it a lot lately, but I was in two big cities recently where I was like,
Yep.
there's some really fantastic shops, and I wanted this. I'm gonna do it. And I'm gonna
Good.
trust that the money I'm putting out is gonna come back
It's
to me
gonna
at some
come
point.
back.
I was filming before this. I got an Audible self-tape audition, or not a self-tape,
Oh,
like a MP, whatever, like a voiceover
yeah.
audition. It was so fun, and I want it. It's good. It's
Yeah.
funny,
Oh, I
but
love that.
I was reading it over and over and over again, and it's so funny because when you read aloud, you're fine.
Yeah.
But I think same kind of mentality of like I'm not really thinking because I'm so focused on this. I'm not eating. I'm not whatever. I
Right.
was forgetting to breathe.
Yes.
So I would periodically get lightheaded, gas myself out completely, and I bet you anything tomorrow I'm gonna wake up with those little red dots on my cheeks from like forgetting to breathe. Do you ever get those? Like the blood
No.
vessels? You never get popped blood vessels when you
No.
like,
Oh my God.
oh gosh. Oh yeah.
Oh,
Anyway,
I'm
that's
so
if
sorry,
I'm all over the place
but
and in the
that's
clouds, that is why.
okay, so to that point, and with everything that we've been talking about, and like, yeah, in a not selfish way, you have to put yourself first. You have to take care of yourself. It's that old saying, like, you can't pour from an empty cup, right? Even aside from acting or your job, just like the people in your life, how can you be a good friend or be there for people if you can't, if you're not taking care of yourself? Like, it just doesn't work. Or you can until you burn yourself out, and then you have to, cocoon. To your point of, yeah, like, not breathing, not eating. Someone told me, and I actually really admire him. He's an actor from Winnipeg, but he doesn't act anymore. And without going into too much personal detail about him, but we had been chatting about acting because he was one of those actors who, there's a handful of them, but they just come out of the gates and they're just booking everything. They're on
Mm.
every show, right? And so this was him. And we have been talking about acting, and he was like, dude, it's expensive make believe. It does not
Isn't that
matter.
your bio on Instagram?
Yes, playing expensive make believe. Yeah, it was something that he said.
That's
And but
awesome.
when he said that to me, I was like, wow, that is so true. Like, again, not to diminish it. Like, it's all important work. Art is so important.
But
It
we're
gives,
not going to war.
yeah, and that's exactly the point, is like, I don't need to feel like I am being hunted for sport when I get a guest star audition, you know? We shouldn't be like killing ourselves over it. I called you sobbing, like sobbing, sitting on the bathroom floor. And that it was like in that period where I was like, yeah, I actually, and I do care about acting, but I was like, I don't give a flying F about this. Like, it doesn't matter to me. What I'm feeling right now is so awful that I don't care about that. I just want to feel okay. Not to sound like so like, oh my God, this is the most like the worst thing ever, but like, how can you do
Yeah.
it and not let it weigh so heavily on you? And so you can still take care of yourself and you can enjoy the process. Like, how do you have anything specific that you like to do to alleviate that anxiety?
I do. I do. If I don't take care of myself, I can't provide anything good for anyone.
Right.
Truly.
Yeah.
I'm also, you are as well, the oldest daughter.
This is true.
And I think that there's a definite complex that comes with that.
Yeah.
Is Nolan the youngest?
Yes.
That doesn't surprise me. That doesn't not because of who he is as a person, but
Yeah,
because
yeah.
knowing that you are the eldest daughter, they often find they say the youngest.
Interesting.
Yes, and it's
Interesting.
something about
Hmm.
enjoying the nurturing that comes from that and wanting to not mother but to
Right.
nurture. Um yeah, I
Interesting.
I think that my entire life It's also telling my therapist this. A lot of people feel that it's okay to lean on me, and that's fine.
Mm,
I like helping other people out. However, I think I have realized in the, I don't know, recent years that
mm-hmm,
I can't be that for everyone. And
mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have times where I need everyone to need nothing from me. It kind of is the core of being able to be the person that can do that periodically.
Yes, I agree.
Because to be needed less, I can give more, I feel.
Yes,
And
yes.
I want to give. I absolutely do. This is like, yes, I know I just gave that whole spiel about how this isn't war, this isn't brain surgery saving lives.
Hmm.
It is mentally taxing, though. It is
Yeah,
hustle culture,
yeah.
unfortunately. It is,
Mm-hmm.
you're constantly marketing yourself. You're constantly having to work towards something without actual step by step, and it's draining. The mental
Yeah,
back and forth is ridiculous.
yeah.
Um, Listen here. I've been
Yeah,
sober for 2.5 years. I need
yeah,
a
yeah.
vice.
Yeah, we all do.
So this week, I spent a lot of money. I'm gonna be honest with you. I
Yeah,
had my
well, you're
debit
allowed.
card stolen in Toronto,
Oh no.
unfortunately, but I'm okay with it because I had my whole wallet stolen and then I
Oh,
got it back and it had
no.
my health card, it had gift cards, it had my library card, it had all these
Okay.
things. I actually got it back with everything but my debit card, so I'm grateful. I don't
Oh,
care.
okay,
Take
okay.
my debit card.
Yeah.
However, to fill that void, I decided I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna spend a little. I got a new suede jacket today. That was my
Yes.
cigarette walk. And it's
I
yeah.
bet it's
So I'm
beautiful.
trying really, it's fucking gorgeous. It's like the summer lights. I can't even lie.
I don't love that it feels like these things kind of have to come to a head for me to be like, okay, that's enough. Or to like not care so much or whatever. But it kind of got to a point where, yeah, I was still in Vancouver. I was working two jobs. I was trying to do the acting thing. I guess this was, yeah, maybe 3 years ago, 3 years ago. So I had sort of been dating and I was like, I was just over it. Like the men that I was meeting were just garbage. I was just so like, it was just a lot. And I was trying to be I was trying to be a good friend to people. I really was. But I felt like I was failing because I had so much going on in my own life that I felt like I wasn't able to be there the way that I wanted to. And then it kind of took a friend of mine pointing that out to me to realize that I actually didn't need to be that person for them, which might sound backwards, but it made me realize that I don't need to feel bad about having stuff going on in my life that I need to take care of first before I can be there for someone else. And so I actually kind of made the decision to drop some people from my life. I know that's like very like probably not what we were expecting, but I realized like, you know what? I no one, not everyone in the whole world is going to like me, and I can't be everything for everyone. And if I keep trying to do that, I'm gonna die. Like I can't keep I can't feel guilty about not being able to be there, and I can't keep putting all of the things that are keeping me afloat on the back burner. And if someone feels like I'm not a good friend because of that, that's okay. I'm just not the person for that person. There is someone else out there who's going to be able to provide that support to them that I can't, and that is okay. Like
Mhm.
that is absolutely
A
fine.
registered psychologist will take it from there. And sometimes
Yeah.
honestly, sometimes I've been the person in my life where
Hmm.
people have been like, Maddie, I think you should really talk to a therapist about this.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes it gets too much. And I really commend you because I feel like a lot of people just go on for so long, just continuing to kind of
Yeah.
accept that at their own expense. So I think that's
Hmm.
actually really big of you. And to
Yeah,
finally choose
thanks.
yourself and be like, okay,
Yeah.
I
I
need to
guess that's
prioritize my health, and being around you isn't going to do that.
yeah, I guess if I had to put it into word, it would be like a boundary. I think I'm still working on having that boundary with acting. If it's date night, I'm not gonna give up date night for an actor role on a Hallmark. Like I'll get it done. I'm gonna get it done and I'm not gonna sweat over it. Like of course I'm gonna put, you know, the best that I can. But yeah, I guess boundaries is what's
Mhm.
important, I think. Our podcast lately have been like heavy but positive.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I wouldn't
been
leave
good.
going, oh, I'm so depressed now.
No, no. Do you ever get auditions for like short films or whatever? And it's funny because so this thing that you just did or that you're doing, right? Which for those of you listening, I read, so I'm very
Yeah,
excited because
Jen was
I
my
feel like I kind of
reader.
I'm like I feel like I'm piggybacking off of it. But
No, I
the
was so
scenes
happy. You
that
were
you
the first person I
had,
called because of that. It's like,
yay!
you're
Oh, I
the best.
love that. But I feel like I know what your scenes were. In fact, I probably have the sides, but they weren't
Let's
super
pull them up.
long. I know, let's research. They weren't super long and they weren't super like they weren't like huge, massive scenes, right? Would you agree?
No, they were
Yeah,
quite quick.
they were quite quick, right? And so the fact that you could book this huge network movie off of these like two kind of, they weren't short scenes, but they weren't long. Like they were, I'd say, pretty relatively easy, at least
They
from the
were
stuff that
honestly
I've seen
quite
you
short.
do. Yeah,
And like I wasn't talking a lot in them
there's a lot of
as
listening, which is
well.
really hard sometimes too. Like actually all the time. It's all the time.
Scene was very back and forth, and the second scene, I commented
You're like,
on the conversation two other people were having.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I feel like whenever you get auditions for like a short film or a proof of concept or something, I remember I had one a couple of years ago. It was for a proof of concept thing, and it was 12 pages. I was like, is this the whole proof of concept? Like, am I taping the entire project
I guess
for
if it's a
this?
short.
And so I had this short film that I auditioned for last week. Yeah, and it was three scenes. One of the scenes was 3 pages. It's like, what? Why?
Half the short.
Yeah, yeah. And like that's fine. If that's what they need to see, that's fine. I understand that. But I just think it's so funny how like big things are usually, not that. And then like small, low budget are always like 3, 4 scenes. Anyway, it just makes me laugh. Um, I feel like the people that I keep in my life now, post having this epiphany of like, all right, I only have this much bandwidth and I'm not going to feel bad about that, are the people who respect that. So again, boundaries. And like even for you and I, like we've been trying to do a writer session when I was in the pits of hell with my anxiety. And you were like, hey, buddy, do you want to do a writer session? And I was like, I'm going to be so honest. I want to die right now. So let's brain check. And you were like, absolutely. You didn't make me feel bad about it. Like,
No
and I
expectations
like,
of anyone
and
ever. It
that's
was
I try to do the same, but the people that I keep in my life are the people who can respect that boundary, um, but who are also like excited for me. Like I was telling Noland after you booked, I was like, I'm so thrilled. I'm so thrilled for you. And like no part of me was like, ugh, I wish that was me. Like it's those kind of people that I have to keep around, and so I know that I can come to them about acting stuff, or I know that they will be excited about acting stuff, or I can cry to them about acting stuff. Um, I think that's it. I guess it's maybe just finding. You have to find the people who are going to support you, and I that's not like an easy answer because that's not an easy thing to do necessarily. It's not like oh, I go for a walk and I get a coffee and that's how, like
yeah, yeah, totally.
yeah, but I think that is how you can support people and other people in the industry can support you is you just have to find the people that are going to be, who have your back. And it's not going to be everyone, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Have
Yeah.
you seen Matthew McConaughey's whole thing on egotistical
Ye
Utilitarianism.
yes, I haven't seen it, but I think Nolan was watching it and he was telling me a bit about it. But
It's
refresh,
kind of like
yeah,
a win for me is a win for the collective.
yeah,
A little bit, just kind of that idea that like any success maybe he would get, maybe I'm butchering this, but I feel like it's any kind of like success he would get, he would use that for the greater good of people.
right. Yes,
Um,
yes, yes.
and I feel like it's really important to find those kind of people totally in this
Yeah.
where you're not jealous. You're like, oh my gosh, okay, this thing happened. And like, I know a wonderful thing is around the corner for you. And
Mm-hmm,
if the
mm-hmm.
roles are reversed, you
Yeah,
feel the same. And,
yeah.
we're working on stuff literally together.
Yes,
And
yes,
like,
yes,
any
exactly.
victory for either of us,
Is for the
thank you,
collective.
universe. It's for the
Yeah,
collective. Absolutely.
truly.
So, how do you feel like you implement, because those are pretty broad, like those are pretty
Hmm.
like just good
Yeah,
mentalities for overall life,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but how do you feel like you implement it in your everyday?
It's funny because on the one hand, I'm like, okay, so texting. Pre-cell phones, it was like you'd be gone all day, you'd come home, you'd listen to your voicemails, and you'd call them back at your earliest convenience. I really hate that we live in a world where it's like you are constantly available just because you have your phone. I really don't like that at all. Oh God. What was the question?
It
I had
was
a
that.
point. There was a point.
How do you use with that
Oh,
knowledge? How do you
implement that
implement that in your everyday
in
life?
every day. Lord.
If we ever
No,
make
I guess
merch, we're gonna have T-shirts that are
yeah.
your
What
face
was
like
the
that with
question?
what
Yeah.
was the question?
That's so funny. For me, if I'm like, okay, I had to get up early and I had to teach my classes, and now I have to work on this audition, and I've had three people text me in this time. Again, unless it's like, time sensitive, I'm gonna respond once I've done what I need to do to fill my own cup.
I would love to know. I did an exercise a little while ago, and I feel like it's so fun, and I would love for you to verbalize yours.
Yes.
So the exercise was just writing a journal entry of your most ideal day,
I
a
love this, and
day
I've done
in
this.
your dream life. And
Yep.
what does that look like? And then I'd love to get into how different that is from your actual current day to that. And I saw
Yes.
another exercise. I thought this was really cool. It was someone it was the Oprah show, and she was saying, write down all the characteristics that you want in a life partner, and then write down what kind of person you think that person would want to be with. And you
Interesting.
go, do I show up for myself like that? I want someone who's like super active and fit and wakes up early. Do I stay in bed until noon?
Right.
And like often I won't work out. I won't whatever today. I won't prioritize my health, my
Yeah.
reading, my knowledge expansion. And I'm like, that's really interesting. And I think it's interesting to do that with your current day to day
Yes.
and the day to day of the life that you want to have.
Okay, if you think about acting, right? I want to be an actor. Why I want to be an actor? Why do you want to be an actor? What is it that you want to feel by being an actor? Okay, so for me, I was thinking about this today. I'm like, okay, well, I want to feel talented. And like, I'm just gonna say it. I know it's
Yeah,
probably gonna sound
please.
gross, but like, I want to be admired for being talented. I want to be creative and artistic. I want to be recognized for being skilled in an art form. Art is just so beautiful, and it's like this otherworldly intelligence. Like I do think art is very scientific, but
Mm.
it's such an enigma because there's no formula. Like it's this like I can't put it into words, but I'm like that's what I want, and I want to feel confident in whatever that is that I can do, and I want to be respected and admired for that, for harnessing whatever this like intelligence is, this art is. That's what I want. Okay, does that need to be acting though? Is
I
any
don't
of
think so.
that, does any of that say that I need to be an actor? No, none of that says that I need to be an actor. So is acting actually what I really want? Painting and drawing I've gotten into recently. Like, is that what it is? Does it need to be that? Can that admiration and recognition come from myself? About like journaling how you want to feel and letting go of how you're gonna feel that.
Okay.
You wanted X because you wanted to feel Y, but
Hmm.
can you feel Y through A, B, or C
MX
instead of
plus
X?
B.
MX plus B. Oh my gosh. The feeling is what you're actually going after. It's not how you're going to get the feeling.
I'm listening fully.
Yeah.
Clove
She's just
had,
going on a little adventure.
she just had like, this is like not a ladylike thing to say, but she's like the most foul, like her litter box is like 2 feet
A stanky poop.
from me. I'm like fully listening and also dying.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Had the other window open to at first. It was fine. Washing into this cyclone of like really disgustingness. Sorry.
Oh
Okay, yes, yes,
no.
yes.
Oh my gosh, you're so fine.
I think it would be really fun if because we could get into right now,
Yeah.
oh, what our day-to-day life would be like. But I think we should take a second to be a little bit more thoughtful about it. And I think that maybe we should write it out and we can share it with you guys. We'll write our journal entries and we'll share with you
Yeah.
guys in the next episode what our ideal day looks like.
Well, I was raised Roman Catholic. Like I
Okay.
was confirmed and first Holy Communion, the whole thing. And then I kind of became like we were very nomically Christian, nomically Catholic. And so I kind of I would say I'm a relatively spiritual person. Have you read The Artist's Way?
Julia Cameron?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
It's on my list.
Okay, good. This can be part of this whole scripting thing, but so in it she refers to like the universe as God. She says it's God. And she says, but don't be married to that word. It can be whatever you want it to be. And so recently I've kind of been experimenting with doing what I've always done,
Okay.
but framing it in like praying and God.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
she refers to the universe as God, and every night she prays to God.
Yes, but she explicitly says, do not think of this as a religious Christian God. Yeah, I'm very excited to go into this and kind of go back to the drawing board and do a new one. And
Reinvent the
yeah, yeah,
perfect
yeah,
day. I
yeah.
did this, I think, a year or two ago, and I realized that a lot of the things that made up my perfect day were within my, at the time, current control.
Interesting. Isn't it
And I was like,
funny how
wow,
it's kind of like holding up a mirror and you're like, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I could really make that happen. And I think a big roadblock of it
Mhm.
was me being so frugal and being like, well, I don't give myself the
Interesting.
funds to
Right.
support
To be
that.
able to do that.
I don't spend the money to buy the
Interesting.
running shoes, so I'm not running. But
Right.
in my ideal day, I wake up at 7:30 and I go for a jog.
Yeah.
Can't do that in my
Okay.
Uggs, like just like little things
Right.
like that make it click.
I
Yeah.
love that. I'm excited. I'm excited for a little homework assignment.
That I've been really big on manifestation in the last 2 months.
You
And
have, that's right.
actually,
Yes.
one of the things on my list was to book a movie such as this one. You
I
guys do it
love
too. Go write
Yes,
down
you guys
your
do it too.
best day and what you would do from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep.
Yes, and who's there with you
Yes. Do you
and
have to
all
cut
the
some people off?
details.
Do you have
Yeah.
to, but that's
Yeah.
such a serious question. Like, do
Yeah.
you have, like, would the people in your circle allow for you to have this
Yes.
beautiful day.
Yes. That's
Yeah.
really important.
Your
All
relationship to your finances, your whatever it is.
Yes. I remember just a little tidbit from my
Yeah.
previous one. Like, this is how specific that you have to be. So, I won't get into like the first part, but at the time when I had written this, I had really bad acne. And it was like one of my like the top, like if you ask me what are your goals for the next year, it would be to have clear skin, to and to book a role, and to be in love with myself. Those were like my three things, but clear skin was number one. And so in this like ideal day, there was like stuff before and then whatever. It was like I get out of bed, and I've slept in because I don't have a regular like 9 to 5, because I'm so busy with acting that I've got money in the bank and I'm just auditioning, and any work that I do is from home. And I get up and I go to the bathroom, and I'm going to go on like a beautiful hike by myself. And I look in the mirror. All of this was in there. I look in the mirror, and I don't need to put on any makeup because my skin is clear. And that was like, so, like, it has to be that specific. Like, it's not just like I have clear skin. It's like, no, I get up and I'm going to go out of the house, and I don't need concealer. I can put on a little bit of blush, but I don't need anything else because my skin is clear. I look in the mirror and I see that. And that's like, it has to be that. Because a big part of it is visualization. But yes, I'm very excited for this.
I
And
love
I
that.
can't wait to hear about yours.
It's so funny because I think my list of priorities would also be clear skin, whatever the second was, and then to love myself unconditionally.
Yep.
And there's probably people out there that are like, well, if you just flip the third and the first,
Right? And
you
you
won't be
might
a
be
prisoner to
okay.
that.
Yeah. Isn't that funny?
A little bit
For the
taller.
most part, I'm like, I'm
And darling.
actually living my ideal life right now. Like, I had wanted this really big giant mirror for my apartment. I had this vision of having like all of these sort of like French provincial style mirrors, like stacked kind of on the floor. So like a really big one and then a smaller one and whatever.
Anthropology?
Anthropology. And
Yeah.
so I had told myself when I booked my like first big thing, I was gonna buy myself this mirror because it's probably the most expensive thing that I own. And I booked something, and then I bought this mirror. But before I owned this mirror, I remember like starting my ideal day was like I wake up in the morning, and like I wake up beside the love of my life in my beautiful apartment, and I roll over, and there's this like giant mirror, and it reflects the city, and it's like beautiful, gorgeous, wonderful. And then I get out of bed and go to the mirror, and then everything I just said about the clear skin, and I like go on this hike, and on my way to go get a coffee before I go on my hike, I look at my phone, and I have my inbox is full of auditions for like Netflix and whatever, and I get to decline auditions because I have so many, and I have so many great roles that people want me for, that I get to say no to something when I go on this amazing hike. And then I come home, and me and my fiance, we order sushi or something, and then it was very specific. It wasn't or something. I think it was actually sushi in the thing, and we watch a movie, and like it was like everything. But yeah, I feel like a lot of that is true. I have that mirror. It's not in this apartment, but I get to wake up beside the love of my life every day, and I do work from home and still working on the auditions. But I like what I do for work. I get to work with
Yeah, quite
kids.
a few coming in. You are actually someone that I I feel like I'm like your biggest fangirl. Like I'm
Oh,
probably so annoying to everyone because I'm
no.
yeah, there's that girl who just always talks about her boyfriend. You are that to me. I'm like, oh, but
Oh.
Danica, she's so cool. One thing that I really admire about you, and I think has like kind of sparked like my feeling that I should just live life like the money I put out is gonna come back to me at some
Yeah.
point and like abundance mindset, whatever, is I look at you and I think, you worked really hard. Like, not that you don't still, but you worked really hard for a really long time serving.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you make good money serving and what have you not. but I would think about it and like there would be clothes and things that I wouldn't buy that looked great on me that were so expensive. And I was like, I wouldn't. And then you and I would go out and you'd be like, this vase is so beautiful. How much is it? $185. Put it in the cart. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, this baller over here. But here's the thing, your apartment was decorated beautifully the way you wanted it to be, and
Thanks.
that was your home and your
Yeah.
sanctuary. You had all these, we'd go shopping and you buy it. You're like, yes, I want that. It looks great on me. But
I
then every
want
time
it.
I
I
see
got
you,
it.
yeah, you see it, you like it. Every time I saw you, you look so cute. Like your outfit's
Oh.
so put together,
Oh
so
my gosh,
cute.
I
And I
think
like,
that about you.
oh my gosh, I'm you. And I'll see this and I'm like, what? Where's this top from? Where's this?
Yeah.
But I'm like, if you don't invest in yourself, you kind of need to do those things. So that
Yeah.
expensive mirror,
hmm And
it
I
allowed you to
zero
have that
regrets.
beautiful morning
Yeah.
moment. And I'm not gonna be
Yep.
like, well, fine things and not materialistic. But it's like, you know what, that created such a beautiful moment for you, you know?
And I miss that mirror. It's
And
just in my
it'll
other
come
apartment.
back.
So it
It's
will,
coming
it will.
back.
But it honestly, it made my apartment look so much bigger because it reflects the city, which I wanted outside of my window. And it's just, yeah, like I have no regrets. And
Totally.
I spent the money that I earned acting to like reinvest into my future. Even though it's a material
Yes.
thing, it felt like it was like begetting itself.
I used to buy shitty razors. Like I would buy like
Oh,
cheap
really?
stuff. You know, I would be like,
Oh
well, I want to save
no.
money, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy like a cheap whatever's on sale at Shoppers.
hmm
I got a flamingo at Costco 6 months ago,
Nice.
and it's just beautiful, and it just
Yeah.
sits in my shower,
I
and
love
I'm
that.
like, every time I use it, I'm like, this is so much like it's easier to
Yep.
use, a better result. It
hmm
looks pretty, and I feel put together. So
Yep.
who cares that
Yep.
it was $27
Yep.
opposed to $4.99?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Invest in yourself.
best in
Well,
yourself.
I'm so excited to hear about everyone's ideal day in their life next
Yes,
week. I
right
can't wait to
into
hear
us.
it. Yeah.
Right into us. And we'll
Yes.
share them
Yes.
anonymously. Oh my gosh, could
Ooh. Oh
you
my gosh.
imagine?
I love that.
Right
I
into us
love
and
that so
share
much.
them. We can, yeah. Also, if
Yes.
you guys ever have any questions, please write them
Yeah.
in.
Well, we'll talk to you guys very soon. Thanks for tuning in.
Yes, thanks for tuning in.
I love you guys.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.